Hello, everyone. Happy Earth Day. Today is April 22nd, and it is Earth Day. And Earth Day is just a day where we maybe do something for our Earth or we think about how we can make our Earth better. What ways can you make your Earth better? So I want you to think about that. But I have a book that kind of goes along with it, but it's also just a great book as well. And it's called And this story takes place in South America where there are a lot of rainforests. So the people who live there might dress a little bit differently than what we're used to because it's very hot. They're very humid and sticky. Um, but it starts with a map. And so obviously we're here up in North America. And the rainforest is that this story is about is called the Amazon rainforest, which is the biggest. It's right here. But there's also rainforests in Africa, which might surprise some of you, and over here in the Philippines and part of China, Indonesia as well. So before we start, it says, in the Amazon rainforest, it's always hot. And in that heat, everything grows and grows and grows. The tops of the trees in the rainforest are called the canopy. The canopy is a sunny place that touches the sky. The animals that live there like lots of light. Colorful parrots fly from tree to tree. Monkeys leap from branch to branch. The bottom of the rainforest is called the understory. The animals that live in the understory like darkness. There, silent snakes curl around hanging vines. Graceful jaguars watch and wait. And in this steamy environment, the great Kapok tree shoots up from the forest and emerges above the canopy. This is the story of a community of animals that live in one such tree forest. Two men walked into the rainforest. Moments before, the forest had been alive with the sounds of squawking birds. Sorry, something's beeping. And howling monkeys. Now all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed at the great kapok tree. Then he left. The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack, whack, whack. The sounds of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was hard. Chop, chop, chop. The man wiped off the sweat, then ran down his face and neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, in the heat and the hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree. He slithered down the trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree. Then the huge snake slid very close to the man's ear and hissed, Senor, this tree is the tree of miracles. It is my home, where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down. A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear. Senor, my hive is in the kapok tree, and if I fly from tree to tree and flower to flower, collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the tree and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another. Which is true. We learned that in our reading and science, right? There's a food cycle, a food chain where people depend on it. A troop of monkeys scampered down the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. Senor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then you come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and then there'll be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away and the forest will become a desert. If you've been doing your science, we talked about how some fossils we find that the area that now is a desert once had water there. That's what fossils can tell us. A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the rock flew down from the canopy. Senor, spoke the toucan, you must not cut down this tree. We have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens when you begin to chop down trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Where there was once life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain. Oh, look at these little frogs. So cute. Oh, I found this page. A bright and small tree frog crawled along the edge of the leaf. He piped up in the man's ear. Senor, A ruined rainforest means ruined lives, many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down the great kapok tree. So sometimes when we think of trees, we might think of like squirrels and birds living there and not making their home. But this tree in the rainforest is actually the home to many animals. It gives them lots of things: shelter, shade, it gives them food, some of them. A jaguar had been sleeping along a branch in the middle of the tree. Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear, Senor, the kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. You cut it down. Where will I find my dinner? Four tree porcupines swung down from the branch to branch and whispered to the man, Senor, do you know what animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen. And Senor, do you know what a tree produces? Oxygen. If you cut down the forest, you will destroy that which gives us all life. Several anteaters climbed down from the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man, Senor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future. And surely you know what happens today or what happens tomorrow depends on what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees. A three-toed sloth began climbing down the canopy when the man first appeared. Only now did she reach the ground. Plodding ever so slowly to the sleeping man, she spoke in her deep and lazy voice. Senor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes? There's a lot of reasons not to destroy the rainforest and chop down this tree. A child from the Yanmano tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear, Senor, when you awake, please look upon us with new eyes. The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him, staring, were the creatures who depended upon the great kapok tree. What a wondrous and rare animals they were. The man looked above and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the great kapok tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of the flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree. Suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and child. He hesitated, then he dropped the axe and walked out of the forest. Dear readers, I wrote The Great Kapok Tree to let the world know what happens to the rainforest creatures and to the entire planet when the rainforests are destroyed. I hope that after reading this book, you will help save the rainforest. The Great Kapok Tree is about the Amazon rainforest, a tropical rainforest. But we have a temperate rainforest in the Pacific Northwest of the United States that we must protect too. Please care for Mother Earth. Together we can make a difference. Lynn Cherry, which is the author. So I hope you enjoyed The Great Kapok Tree. Happy Earth Day.